start. Hi, welcome to another edition of Legal Quilts. Today we're going to continue in our series about preserving memories. And the best part is this is a really fun one and kind of a good end of the year wrap up. Every year, as my husband and I travel, we go places and we collect patches. I buy the patches at the gift store, so it helps support the thing. And at the end of the year, I keep all the patches and I keep a list so I know where we've been and what dates, and that's important. And then every year I just create a wall hanging that kind of looks like this, that shows, it's a little hard to see here, but basically I just put all the patches, I sew the patches onto a little square of fabric. I just applique them on, and then I sew the patches into a row, add a nice little border, and it's a nice wall hanging that shows our trip for every year. And somewhere like here, you can kind of see it. If you look really closely, I sewed the year in there so I know what year it was. And this is kind of a nice way to show what we did all year in one place. It's kind of a way that we can look back and go, oh, that was fun, like, or not so fun. This is when we went to Andersonville, the National POW Memorial. That had some, that wasn't exactly fun, but it was necessary. This is when we went to the Triumph Motorcycle Rally. That was fun. So it's a history of our trips, the fun, the important, that sort of thing. And I do this all year long. I collect them all. Now, not all the places have patches, or we do something that maybe there isn't a patch, that, there's not a gift shop I can hit up for it. So sometimes I have to get creative. And what I do, we take pictures everywhere we go. We always got lots of pictures. And I just print it on fabric, which I'm going to have a show on how to print fabric. Print on fabric, print your photos on fabric, and then I just cut it down. This happens to be one where we were wandering around so lost that there was literally nothing on the GPS. Shout out to the friends who called us to make sure we made it back to civilization. That was an appreciated phone call. So that's the memory of this trip. We didn't really do anything but drive around trying to find civilization again. But I've got all the patches here, and then all I do is I count them up, and I just cut a little square of fabric. I figure out what the biggest one is, and then I cut about 1.5 inches bigger, because you need that 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides for when you sew it, but also you want a little bit of the background there. I choose to use white, but you can use pretty much anything you want. You don't want a big print or something that's going to blend in. That's why I don't use black, because you'll see I've got like this one here. If I use black, this would kind of blend into the background. So what I do is white seems to work, because even if you've got white, it's not going to blend in so much. And then I just applique them on, as you can see. What that was. You just applique them on. You see, this is one of the printed ones. This is when we went to Cape May. I know there's some threads there I got to get rid of. And then this is a circle. This is a circular one. Circle ones are actually easier to do. And that's all you do. You just take your patch. I use just a spritz of basting spray, because I have a problem when I do applique. It shifts and then it's not straight. This is from our trip to the USS Edson in Bay City, Michigan. We like to go exploring on old ships, museum ships. We like to go climbing around them, and that's always fun. The stuff, it goes away. If it gets on your table or whatever, you can just rinse it off. It comes off with water. Now I've got the applique stitch set here. On my sewing machine, you're going to want to slow it down a little bit. You don't want to be going too fast. You want your tension really, really loose. I didn't loosen it enough on this one, and you can see it's all, might have to just redo that one completely. You can see it's bunching up the fabric. I don't know if you can see that. Probably going to rip this one out and redo it because I just don't like how that one came out. So you put it on here, and the circle ones are really easy. You just start wherever you can. And you set it, I've got this set so that the left side is fixed because that's the side of your patch. But you want to sew it so that you're hitting the patch but not going too far into the design. I went a little too far in a couple of these places. You don't want to ruin the design. You want to make sure it catches over your patch. So you just sew it on, making sure your stitches are just where you want them. Like I said, not too wide. And you can use whatever color thread you want. Again, I use white because it seems to work best for this. It just, again, it doesn't overwhelm it's not going to take away from your design. It doesn't always blend in, like it's not going to blend in on the black ones, but white is, yeah, very neutral. So is black. You could use black thread if you wanted, which would also stand out, but the white blends into the background, your background fabric if you're using white. So I prefer, and you just go around making sure you get the outside of the fabric. You can have your stitches a little longer because this is a wall hanging. You just want to make sure it's going to hold there. You don't have to do it as tight as something that's going to get a lot of regular use. I could probably move my stitches a little farther apart. And you don't have your feed dogs down for this. You're just straight sewing around, and it grabs the fabric, and you just go around. And like I said, when you're done, keeping your fabric flat, I think I'm done. Okay, yep. Just cut it off, and boom. I probably still need to loosen that up a little bit because it's probably still a little too tight. But there you go. And then, like I said, I just sew them together, sew them into rows, you know, starting at the first date and just going along in my rows. And when it's all done, and then I quilt it. And this year, because I've got this machine and I'm going to figure out how to use my embroidery, I'm going to embroider the year on. I'm going to put a strip across the top that has the year on it. I think that'll be nice. It's always fun when you have to do a small piece with like these edges, an unusual shaped piece. That's going to be fun. So just slow it down, take it easy. It's not a rush, but this is a great way to preserve your memories for the year of what did you do. It makes a great wall hanging, looks great on your wall, and it's a wonderful way to look back and remember what you did all year. That's it for this year. Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2023.